In this video, we're going to look at potentiometers, or variable resistors, or little variable dial-y thingies. A potentiometer is a variable resistor. Really, it's two resistors in one. In this style potentiometer, you'll find a value on the potentiometer. In this case, it's 10 kilo ohms. In this case, it's 5 kilo ohms. Although you can get different value sizes, these ones are very common. You'll find that if you measure resistance between this leg and this leg, you'll get 10 kilo ohms. Between this leg and this leg, you'll get 50 kilo ohms. Between this leg and this leg, you'll get 5 kilo ohms. 50 kilo ohms. And let's go to this one. That one there. And that one there. And there. 5 kilo ohms between that leg and that leg. You'll see if you turn the dial, that value doesn't change. Same with this one, 50 kilo ohms, and you see if you turn the dial, that doesn't change. If we measure the resistance between this leg, and now we turn the dial, you'll see the value of the resistor change. If I turn it all the way to the right, we have very low resistance. If we turn it all the way to the left, we get 50 kilo ohms. So if we measure it between these two legs now, you'll find the opposite's going to happen. All the way to the left, you get nearly zero resistance. And if you turn the dial all the way to the right, you'll get 50 kilo ohms. Here's a potentiometer, and I'm going to open it up. Let's have a look and see what's inside. We've got these little tabs, just press it. It's just little tabs that hold it down. Just open these tabs. Open these tabs a little bit more, and it will lift out. So on the inside, you'll find that you've got this resistive strip here. And this piece, although it's really mangled up, is attached to this turn. So where this makes contact here depends on the resistance between this point and this point, because the resistance will go between this point here to wherever that contact is, to the middle contact here. And same with this one. The resistance will be between here, the contact, and there. If we're going to measure the resistance between here and here, it will be the resistance of this contact here. So what's happening, if you look at this, it's got this kink in it. It's got this little bend in it, and that bend is what's rubbing against that contact there. So this is the symbol for a potentiometer. So here you've got your two legs and your middle leg, or your variable leg. What this really means is that you've got two resistors. A resistor and a resistor, and you're putting in voltage here, and say you've got a ground point here. Let's make it 5 volts in. So if we were going to measure the voltage here, and if we set it to halfway, that's going to be roughly 25k on this side and 25k on that side. Well, the voltage here is going to be about 2.5 volts. This arrangement like this is called a voltage divider. There we go, red. So if I'm going to connect a bit of power, so I hit 5 volts there. Multimeter between there and there, measuring resistance. Turn the power off. We've got 50 kiloohms. Right, but between here and here, we're hoping to have something like, oh, you know what, why don't I just touch it? Wait, that kind of feels like it's halfway about there. Measure the voltage between there and there. I should be seeing, plug it in, you goose. Right, 5 volts. 2-ish volts. So if I turn this dial further to the left, you'll see the voltage on this side going down. So it means that the voltage between these two legs is going to be going up. Let's measure that. Between this leg here, this leg here. As I turn it more to that side, see the voltage is getting closer to 5 volts. Oh. This arrangement of 2 resistors dividing voltage like this is called a voltage divider. Let's have a look at the rest of these potentiometers. Potentiometers often use a knob, a dial. So this dial is held on with a thing called a set screw. So if I undo this is a 2mm Allen key which happens to fit that particular set screw. If I let this set screw off, I'll just pull it all the way out so you can see, and there's a set screw. It's just a little screw without a head. In fact, the way it's driven is with that Allen key, and you can see on the inside of that there's the little hex head. So once you take that out, you'll see that it's just a threaded part for the set screw, and you can even see here on this how the set screw has left a mark here on this flat part. So set screws are designed to put pressure against this flat part so it can't move. So when you put the knob on, you've got to align the knob against that flat part. If you tighten it up like this, you've got the set screw pressing against the round, and it will hold, but it will hold much better if you mount it correctly and put the set screw against that keyed part. It's got a set screw on it as well, and you see this one, I've just pushed it onto these press inserts. These press inserts are meant to use a different type of knob. So if you look at this knob here, this is a really old type of knob. It's got a set screw as well, but it's got this, it doesn't have an Allen key head, it's got a flat blade head. But still, it's designed to push in. I don't know if you can see it down the hole there, but you can see here, I hope you can see that. Maybe if I tilt it out a bit more, you can see here the set screw coming through. But if I run the edge of my screwdriver down there, I can feel it. I can feel the serrations in there, and the serrations are designed to press against these points here. This isn't the right knob for this size potentiometer. Because that's not the right size for that potentiometer, you can see as you turn it, see how it's got a... So if that offset doesn't matter, well, use whatever. But if you want it to look professional finishes, you'll use the right size knob for the right size potentiometer. To mount a potentiometer, you'll drill a hole. So this is a thing called a hole gauge, and I'm just going to use the hole gauge to pass through and see what size hole I need to mount this. You could use a set of micrometers to measure this, but you know, I've got this hole gauge handy, so I'm going to use it. So 8mm is a bit big. 7mm, that's looking good. 7.5mm, yeah, could be a 7mm. 6.5mm is too tight, so probably I'm going to use a 7mm. I think that's a nice size fit. So I've got here a piece of acrylic, and I'm just going to put a little hole. Right, a little 7mm hole. You can see it's a 7mm hole, and if I push this through, you'll see that it doesn't fit flat. That's because it's got this little pointy outy bit. Now this key, you need to drill an extra little hole somewhere on the side of it. And the idea of it is that it stops that twisting this keys and sits in the hole and catches in it to give it some support. So I'm going to drill another little hole off to the side. So to guess where the hole's going to be, I've just put this in and turned it hard against the plastic, so it's left this little mark, and I'll just drill a hole somewhere on that little mark. 7mm hole and a, I don't know, 3-4mm hole, whatever it is. A little hole there. So now when I take my potentiometer and pass it through, you can see the key part there. So they're arranged in a certain way, so that key gives you an idea of the angle that it's going to be mounted. So in this case, this is going to be mounted sort of this way. So that's full one way, and that's full the other way. So if I put my little washer and my mounting, is that the right one for this? Yes, it is. A little mounting thread there. There it is. Mounted nicely. Put the little knob on, mount it all to one way, so you can see how the knob goes there. 1, 2, 1, 2. I'll just put that little mark there because there's the key there. No, you can't see the other side. That's okay. The potentiometer.